Welcome, everybody. I'm Ambika, and this session is about taming your mind. So, you're probably wondering why? Why do I want to tame my mind? What is this all about? Well, for me, what it is getting a clear emptiness so that I can either create ideas, make great decisions, or just relate to other people in a better way. For me, the ultimate way to tame the mind is definitely through the state of meditation. But I know that when people think about the idea of meditating, it can be really, really challenging. And maybe we don't know how to get into it. Some of my colleagues talk about sound for getting into it, or gazing into things like fire, or just getting out into nature in order to empty and clear. And these things all work. And I want to lead you through some processes as well so you can experience them and try them. The state of meditation is not that different from what a state of deep sleep feels like. It's closely related in brain waves. And our brain waves naturally go into a state of trance every 90 seconds. So we potentially can be led energetically into this place of meditation, this place of clarity, really easily. We just need to know how to step into it. When we're in the state of meditation, we get higher levels of dopamine and even serotonin. So we're much happier. And then the body systems function in a much healthier way. The easiest ways for me are with breathing and using my own primordial sound. I know a lot of people are attracted to external sound, but I think the most profound and easy way to get your own self into the state of meditation is using the sound of your own voice. But before we get into making a sound with our voice, we would need to get in touch with our breathing. And even before then, we need to understand what exactly is happening in meditation. You see, we're withdrawing from the senses. So we first need to understand what are the senses doing and how are they affecting us. We know from some of the information that's out there that we have over 50,000 or even 70,000 thoughts per day. And these occur at about the rate of 35 to 48 per minute. That's a lot of thought, but we don't get all of it coming through. Now, when these thoughts come through, they fire and trigger our senses, and this causes us to make a decision. We're not always aware of it. Some of these decisions could be as subtle as blinking your eyes, or the acts of digestion that are happening inside of your body. But some of these decisions are much bigger. Like, which way should I go? What choice should I make? Should I take this route or that route, this job or this job? Should I get involved with this person? So all of these decisions are so affected by what's going on and firing through the mind. Therefore, if we're able to reset and do kind of like a crash dump, like what we do on the computer, and what we expect our sleep state to do for us, but it doesn't always efficiently and effectively do it, these happen so much better and effectively and efficiently through a steady meditation practice. We have 5 gross senses, and probably as a little kid you learned about them: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. And each of these senses has a higher level of sensing, which is super sensing. I like to think of chefs who can smell a spice or even just hold it or taste a little bit of it. and know exactly what kind of recipes they want to use it in, or how much to use. Or a vintner who can look at a bottle of wine, smell the wine, and know exactly what year it's from. Or how about a parent whose child is down the hall and in another room with the door closed, and they have a sense of something's going on, that child needs me, or they're up to something and we need to go check on them. So we all have these times when super sensing kind of clicks in. And then there's psychic sensing. And psychic sensing is that invisible knowing for our more kinesthetic people, because that sense of touch also relates to that psychic sense of claircognizance. Very visual people likely will have more visual dreams and have a greater ability at imagining things in visual information. And then there's also auditory. Sometimes we think we hear things or we pick up on sounds. All of these gross senses in our physical body relate and have a higher level of super sensing and also psychic sensing. So all of these need to be calmed down and pacified with meditation in order to really open up and clear the space for great ideation or connections or decision making. The place to begin is definitely in the physical body with centering and grounding. And one of my favorite ways, you could even do this sitting down, is to put your feet down flat on the floor and imagine your toes stay connected and then your heels just make contact with the floor. We have a nerve that goes down the back of our bodies that loops around the heels. And when we tap the heels on the floor, then we can help to enliven that central nervous system and send some prana, which is vital energy, through the body. This can also bring us into a place of grounding. Next, I like to get in touch with my breath. Now, a lot of times we know we need to take a deeper breath, that it's a good idea for us to get even deeper into our ability to breathe. So the place to start is by exhaling. And what I invite you to do with me right now is to join me in some breathing rhythmically together. So we're going to exhale to begin. And then take a very deep breath in through the nose. And then simply exhale it out through the nose. Next, we'll inhale again through the nose and pause. And then exhale slowly, slowly, imagining we see the breath disappear like a river in the distance. And then again, after we empty out, hold and pause the breath. Continue on and breathe in. Pausing and then exhaling. Let's do one more breath like this. Inhaling and pausing. And then exhaling. And pausing once again. Breath happens in this rhythm, but when we learn how to place these pauses, then we can actually start to feel and notice and experience the mind quieting. It's in these pauses that the mind chatter stops. It can't get through. And so this is ever so important to add into our breathing routine to experience these pause points. We call these pause points kumbhaka in Sanskrit. So I'd like you to play with that and notice the changes that just a little pause makes for you. That alone can actually help to tame the mind. As a teacher, learning how to breathe like this gives you an edge on delivering your curriculum. As a learner, learning how to breathe like this gives you a greater capacity for absorbing knowledge. As an administrator, this gets you more centered and grounded. And then when you get your team to breathe along with you for just a few breaths at the beginning of a meeting or the beginning of a morning when everybody is getting focused on the tasks at hand, then everybody can move toward the same vision. A teacher of mine said to me once that 95% of our fears are imaginary. So the imagination plays a really big part in memory and how we react to things. We store a great deal of memories in the mind. As yogis, we like to use an analogy of a rope and a snake. You're walking across a darkened space, maybe like the level of dusk in the evening, and you spot something on the floor or the ground, and you get startled because you think it's a snake. But as you get closer and you observe it, you see it's a rope. You might still feel a little bit of the adrenaline rush of thinking it was a snake. But then when you realize it's a rope, you don't have that fear anymore. Now, when you first spotted it, you thought that rope was a snake and you had fear. You jolted just like it was real, but then you got closer and it became apparent that that was your mind fooling you. These are the same as the kinds of memories and thoughts that come up throughout the day. We call these samskaras. You see, the snake didn't exist if there wasn't a rope. The rope didn't exist if we didn't think it was a snake. This is a very interesting way to look at this. As we learn to cultivate more sweetness and peace in our lives through our environment, through what we put into our bodies and how we care for our bodies physically, and also what we put into the mind and the imagination, when these things become sweeter, kinder, more peaceful, they then help to grow our ability to stay in this place. So it is a practice. When we are meditators, we then become less attached to things. We have a greater ease of separating ourselves away from situations, emotional reactions. And then we can get a dispassionate view and make better decisions. This will help with desires, cravings, and things that you might think hang you up. Meditation is a state of being. And there are different types of triggers and launch points to get us into it. There's a great explosion of mind entertainment out there, of videos, of sound. And these are mind entertainment. Truly, meditation is quite simple. Sit up straight, close your eyes, focus on the breath. Then why is it so difficult to get into? It's because we have all of these disturbances and it takes practice. So physical movement can get us into this state, walking, dancing, running. And that's why we're attracted to it, because we like to feel the body moving. Creative visualization and guided meditation or hypnotic suggestion. And these are great and they can launch you, but likely what happens, and I get this from a lot of my clients and students, is that they fall asleep during guided meditation. That's okay. If you're tired, let yourself sleep. It's really important. And then just the simple way of focusing on the breath, sitting up straight, and closing the eyes. Now, I want to give you an experience where it is so much easier. So I want you to play along with me full out. Let me know that you're ready to play full out. And if you want, you can give me a thumbs up or one of the symbols that are available at the bottom of your screen. And let me know you're ready to give this a try. What I want you to do, excellent, thank you so much. What I want you to do is find a seated position. We're going to try the most challenging style of meditation. So we're going to do an experiment together. And I'm super excited that you're ready to try this with me. So I want you to get into your best upright position so you feel your spine elongated. And then just listen to me as I guide you through this. Close your eyes and just notice. For a moment, just take an evaluation of what's going on. Do you feel nervous? Is there any kind of place in your body that you feel energy bouncing or your attention, your inner attention is drawn to? And if so, just focus your next breath to that area and just notice what that does. So maybe your knees or your hips, your back, your shoulder, or your neck, and just breathe into that space. Notice if your breath is starting to lengthen or becoming even more conscious. And on your next available exhalation, I want you to pull the tummy in all the way so that you feel like you're even squeezing out. You might even pump it a little bit to squeeze out even more air and create an even more profound pause. And then inhale slowly, fully, and pause and hold that breath in. And then exhale even slower and see if you can make that exhalation very, very smooth and imagine it disappearing into the distance. Pausing after that exhalation and then inhaling deeply. Pausing. Exhaling slowly. And pausing. Each time we're pausing, notice how much more settled, how much more grounded, how much more peaceful you're feeling. Now take a deep, long inhalation. And we're going to make the sound ah as we exhale. Ah. Pausing and then inhaling. One more time. Let's make the sound ah. Ah. Pausing after every breath in, every breath out. Inhaling. Now let's put a little bit of vibration on that sound. Ah. Just relax the breath and notice what putting some vibration on the sound did to you. How did that shift things? Let's try another sound. Getting back to your deep breath. Exhaling. Deep breath in. Let's make the sound ooh. Ooh. Each time, same as we did before, pausing, inhaling again. Ooh. Notice that after the sound trails off, it's as if you still sense it inside yourself. And stay with it in quiet breathing until you feel it dissipate. And then take your next breath and then make the sound again. you'll start to notice how making these toning sounds are triggering more silence in the mind after the sound dissipates. And now let's try the sound mmm. In your next attempt of this sound, try to buzz the lip area, the buccal area of muscles around the mouth. Taking a deep breath in. You may have noticed, as you relax your breath after that sound, that you're in a different area of your body. Each of these tones puts us into a different layer or level or height of the body. Now I want to try and experiment with you using a consonant sound and the vowel sound ah. So we're going to use the sound ta. And I want you to make the sound ta, and then after it dissipates, make the sound again. And notice how that sound changes the way you're perceiving your own physical body and energy. And then when it dissipates and goes away and you make the sound again, how and where it takes you. Ta. 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 And then just relax. Notice if there's any quieter sensations in the thought stream or that subliminal text that happens throughout our day. And then let's see what the vowel sound on the T sound does. So we'll say tum, 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 tum. I'm curious which one felt more effective to you. Did you notice that you were quieter on one than the other? That maybe it took you into a different place in the body? And now that you're just breathing quietly, can you find a quiet place where there's no sound? Experiment with and without toning, and also just with the breath and the kumbhaka, the pauses, to find where you notice a more profound shift of quiet. Are you ready for one more experiment? Excellent. Now what we're going to try is a mini break meditation together. So I want you to just shake out some of your body. Shake out your arms. Shake out your legs. If you want to stand up and jump up and down for a moment, you can. You can bounce your heels. And then find a settled, comfortable position once more. Close your eyes. Let your awareness turn to the air coming in and out through your nose. Relax your jaw. so that the teeth aren't touching. And if the tongue needs a place to be, let it rest gently on the roof of the mouth. Begin to use a pause at the top of the breath. So when you take the next deep breath in, pause. And then exhale slowly, slowly. Squeezing the last bit of exhalation out, drawing the tummy in and pausing. Take your next deep breath in. Hold the breath and now set an intention to stay in a very relaxed, very peaceful state. Exhale. And as you exhale, notice the breath disappearing into the distance like a lazy river. When you feel no more air, draw the tummy in and pause. Let the breath continue and allow yourself to stay here and let it go even deeper. As you continue to breathe, you can use the pauses, and at any time you like, you can let the breath relax and become subtle, gentle, peaceful. Ever so gently, notice your body once again. Become aware of the air coming in and out through your nostrils. And very slowly, begin to blink your eyes open and find your way back into this space with me. Every vowel sound can actually be used to access a different part of the physical body and the space around us. So I'll let you in on a little secret. Do you want to know a secret? Yeah? Yes. Okay. Great. So the ah sound is very, very grounding, and it helps the lower part of our body. And if you're not feeling grounded, you're not feeling centered, you're feeling off balance, ah is definitely the sound to use. And the way to get into any of these toning sounds is to first get in touch with your breath, always exhaling first, then getting the breath going, noticing the pauses, and then into the toning. This is going to help get you a sensation right away from making a sound. Ooh gets you into the heart space. And affects the upper chambers of the body. So we can use these different sounds in different ways. But I recommend just keeping ah in your back pocket. And you can try different consonant sounds before it. We used ta before. But you can try different consonants and experiment with them to see what works for you. And this could be something to experiment with the people around you and see if you can get them to calm down with these techniques. When we're leading a group or we're dealing with children and our families, these are great focus points. When we're starting a meeting, can you imagine if we got everybody grounded and it only took a minute or two before we got into what we were doing? It would make a big difference. How about you, Claudia or Lilibeth? Would you like to ask me a question or give me any feedback. You've got the megaphone, but you also have to unmute your mic and your speaker. I don't see a mic on you, Claudia. Um,
I I can hear her.
oh, you can? I don't know
I
why I
can
can't.
I can hear.
Okay, now I can. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you, by the way, because I have a very busy, worried mind, and it affects my stomach greatly.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was, the sounds that we worked on and stuff really helped me. I noticed, I don't know which one if it was, but it was in my chest,
Mm-hmm.
stomach
That
area.
was ooh. Ooh was in your
Oh,
chest. Mm-hmm.
okay. How did you know that?
Because I'm the master of this.
Oh, okay. Sorry. No, I no, it's just sorry.
Because I'm magical.
People see, yeah, and that's me too. As far as like, I worry so much. Like, I'll be in a crowd of people, for example, and this is going to help me because I can tune into so many things, and it's very difficult for me. Like people and surroundings, and so it's hard. So this is going to help me ground in the present moment.
Yes. Another trick is tapping your heels. So if you're seated, kick off your shoes. You could do it with your shoes. But the best way for you is going to be stand up and bounce,
Oh,
even jumping up and down. This will help to activate the central nervous system, and this will also help to calm all of the systems down. So if you do a little bit of bouncing and then sit down and focus on breath, it will help. Now, if you're out in a crowd,
mm.
you'll have to find a way to tap your heels, but you can also click the heels of your palms together or
Oh,
squeeze them, because that will help. Or just dig the heels in a little bit, tapping the feet, stamping the feet. This is why a lot of native cultures dance and stamp. It creates an incredible, powerful grounding. And as you play with the toning sounds, you'll find ones that definitely trigger you. I mean, I took you into a meditative state very quickly, didn't I? And it's pretty magical when you all of a sudden feel like, holy cow, I'm actually in the state of meditation.
yeah, I'm
I'm not
actually.
just pretending it or thinking it. All of a sudden, I'm sensing it. And that's where we disappear. We stop knowing where we are, who we are, what day it is, what time it is, or that we are, that we have a gender, a name, an age. It all goes away. Let me add a little bit to it. A steady mind is likened to a flame in a windless alcove. So it's steady. But all of these mind waves, these what we call vrittis, they create turbulence. And so we want to get the mind steady because that's where we make better decisions. That's where our physiology functions better. But then there's just so much stimulus from outside. So these breathing and toning for me seems the most efficient. Sure, I can go for a walk for an hour and then feel more grounded and centered, but maybe I don't have an hour. What do I do? I've got a mini break on my meditation podcast, which is Meditate with Ambika. And there you can experience in less than 5 minutes the same thing I took you through here. So it might become something you keep in your pocket, and you can try that mini break whenever you need it. And once you learn how to do it on your own, you won't even listen to me anymore. Hey, sometimes I listen to me. Sometimes I need that added jolt or assistance, and I I actually do. If I'm feeling really off or something's going on in my life, sometimes I'll run a bath and I'll listen to one of my own guided meditations. So don't be afraid to use a tool like that. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's my name, Ambika Devi, and then the number 1008.